2JZ. No shit.
Oh my gosh.
All right, up next we have a Mark IV Supra. This car was previously a SEMA car in 2014, so we're gonna take a quick walkthrough and just sort of point out some of the obvious things that it has going on for it. It has a mild wide body kit. It's got the 2J with the single turbo setup on it, carbon front and rear splitters. It's on air, it's got a big brake kit. Inside it has a pretty wild stereo system. And then a bunch of carbon door panels, carbon center console insert, some really nice bride seats. And then out back, you got the top secret wing. And it's also got a bunch of audio stuff in it. Not exactly, Wavefab Creative apparently installed it. So yeah, what it's here for is we're gonna clean up a bunch of things. So we'll kind of get into what that looks like. So that sort of gives you a brief rundown of what we're working with. It's got a lot of really cool JDM stuff. So it's fun now, but now it's on the street and it needs to get used. And some of the stuff didn't really age well. Some of the techniques and products they used at the time didn't really last. So we're just gonna tidy it up and clean up some stuff. We have a little bit of wiring cleanup to do. It needed a new clutch because the clutch in it is just completely smoked. So, because he has a bunch of power and he wants to put more power into it, we've gone to a twin disc setup with a Tilton hydraulic throwout. And then we've gone through and tidied up a bunch of other bits and pieces. There's some plumbing issues underneath that we can show you on the lift afterwards. And then a lot of other just little wiring problems. Just stuff I know how it is, like that sort of SEMA crunch thing where corners start getting cut. But like I say, he wants to start daily driving this and it's not just gonna be sitting around at shows, so we gotta make it work for him.
Show things that are falling apart. Like I'm already seeing this chicken wire.
Yeah, so a lot of little things like this that just didn't last. Like I say, wiring, there's some plumbing issues, a lot of convoluted tubing that we're gonna clean up. Then there's just...
There was something you shook underneath there that made a sound.
Yeah, you wanna look in here?
Yeah.
Some gremlins, little hidden demons in here. Just little conflicts, like some more heat shielding, just tidying up stuff. We don't want to have a car fire. A lot of the more obvious stuff is under the car that would potentially cause you an issue.
And these mirrors too.
Yeah. Another thing is just tightening up some things. Inside, the way the audio was done, it looks super cool, but it was done in a style that's not really that popular anymore. But it's called stack fab, so it's just glued together MDF, but over time it takes on moisture and starts to warp and separate. So we're gonna remake all this out of PVC plastic because it's a really cool design. It just need, like, this one had very little sun, whereas this one was in the shadow.
Perfect.
This one looks perfect, but you can see once you actually start using it and you get it out into the sun and it starts taking on moisture because the car's outside in the rain, that's what happens to that pretty quickly. And then a lot of other stuff, it just comes down to product failure. So a lot of this was installed with Velcro. And I mean, it's just falling apart. Like so we're gonna tidy all that up, put actual mechanical fixtures in it so that it'll actually stay together. Because, I mean, this is not the best. Like, you don't want a crazy cool car that's just falling apart. And then, like I say, a lot of it's just a little bit of fitment issues and adjusting some things. Some other corners that are cut is like, it's got one bolt in it.
It's about to fall off.
It's about to fall off, so you actually start putting this into use and you're gonna start having problems. And then, yeah, like I say, we had the transmission out, we had it dry ice blasted by Vancouver Ice Blasting, so we cleaned all that up, and now we're about to get in, putting in that clutch, and underneath the car there's a few little things, so we can look at that right now. Trying to put the previous builders on blast, because who knows, it could have been had 3 or 4 owners since it was initially built. And you know, some of those owners may not be as detailed oriented as the original owner. So there's just a lot of things that are not great. A lot of wiring and plumbing stuff that could potentially become issues. Wear points that we don't want to see, like having the ability for electrical and fuel to be chafing in the same spot is never a good thing. That's like a car fire waiting to happen. We have some bad placement of some fuel system parts, and then just a lot of stuff that we can shorten up, tidy up. So mostly what we're doing is just dialing everything in and tightening it all up and getting it ready for the new guy.
So this is not the same guy that like paid to get it built?
No, I think it's had a couple of owners since its original inception. So,
oh, okay.
Like I say, that's why I don't want to just put it on the original people that built it, because who knows how many people's hands have been on it.
True.
And not everybody always works at the same level, so it's, yeah, I'm not calling anybody in specific out, but there is some janky shit in here that we're gonna get sorted out for them and yeah, get it back on the street. So, fun, easy one.
Easy one? So this car is gonna be easy to get done?
Well, it hasn't exactly, it'll be easy to do the work, but it's been really difficult to get the parts. Because with COVID and all the different struggles, it's like getting some of the parts has taken upwards of a year. So it's
gosh.
Yeah, it's been sitting for a while, and especially a lot of the OEM stuff was really difficult to get.
Oh, I bet.
So now that we have it and we have all the parts, we'll get into it and get it back together, and then it'll be fresh and ready.
Sweet.
And then if he wants to start doing power adders over and above what's already been done, I don't really know how much power it has.
I was gonna ask that.
Just because the clutch was so smoked when it came to us that there was no real way to get a feel for it. Like, I was lucky to get the car in the shop.
Oh wow.
So the master cylinder was bypassing, and yeah, as you can see there was just really nothing left of this. So you couldn't even lay into it, it just spun the clutch. So
yeah.
now with the twin disc, it's gonna be
You could actually put the power down, yeah.
So we'll see how much it has, and then the next phase is to basically get it on the dyno at Racing Greed and find out exactly what it is doing and how well it does run, and then we'll start playing with it from there.
I'm gonna say it has 1,000 horsepower, but
no, I think
every Supra has more.
No, I think it has less.
Oh, okay.
I would, if I had to guess based on this setup that's in here, I'm gonna say 550, 600.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Well, once we get it back together, we'll get it over there and we'll see if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. Wrong in the right way.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Still a really cool car though. Like, even though the work was not, or it's been a while.
The bulk of it's good.
But
it's just a lot of it, like I say, is product failure. So it's not necessarily on the builder, but there is better stuff available now, so we can clean a lot of those things up. And then, like I say, there's how many sets of hands have been in this thing,
True.
and not all of them are, you know, necessarily should be working on cars. So yeah, we're gonna make it right and make it tight. Yeah, like all this, I don't understand what's happening here. Like, you have a fuel pressure regulator and then a gauge. Like, look at this. You gotta get that.
What is this?
It's always good.
A gauge is in there.
A fuel pressure gauge
Underneath.
on your regulator facing the inner fender.
Yeah, how do you even see it?
You don't. I think they just used it to plug a hole. But yeah, it's leaking fuel.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we can put some people on blast, man.
What is this
I don't know what that one is. There's
thing
another one
just
over here.
going to nowhere?
Yeah.
So interesting. So like, are you gonna have to take out the motor or like do any of that crazy stuff?
I don't think so. I think I can relocate most of this stuff and just put it in a little bit better, because we can make some brackets. A lot of times with people, like, that's not even tied up. It's not even bolted to anything.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we got shit hanging
I want to get a good angle, so it's, oh, that's perfect.
Like, a lot of this stuff is, you know, like, if it's been eliminated, you should get it out of here.
Yeah.
Some of these wires can still have power in them.
And that's what causes a fire.
That's what causes the fire, and then this isn't mounted to anything. It's pinched in here.
Interesting.
So you're just really relying on the rigidity of the hose to hold it in place.
Wow. That's crazy.
Running your battery cable across the bracket that holds your fuel pressure regulator is not a good idea.
That sounds like an amazing idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's how you start.
I'm kidding, yeah.
That's how you start a car fire. It's like, this is a car fire kit.
Yeah, or even this, like you said, the chafing happens with the fuel line.
I don't know if a lot of people realize that this stainless braided hose acts
is it
like
conductive?
a saw. Yeah, it's conductive, and it acts like a saw. So anything that it's rubbing against, it'll just cut its way into it.
Oh, wow.
Like, I've had this stuff cut its way in, I've had stainless braided brake lines against the fiberglass edge, and it'll cut itself like 4 inches in like 3 hours. It's just like a saw. It just,
oh my gosh. That sounds
it's super
terrifying.
hard, so it doesn't really give.
So if you have like the regular like cloth,
Better. Like this stuff is great and it holds a ton of pressure, but anywhere it's got a point or an edge, it'll just wear like a notch. Because stainless is so much harder than everything else.
Yeah.
So like situations like that, like this being laying across here like that, is as soon as that cuts through and arcs to this thing, this car is going up in flames.
So what you're saying is there's quite a bit of fire hazards happening.
Yeah, there's lots. And like that's literally my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Car fire is
pretty bad.
Like, especially something like that, because you would never be able to get it out. It's not just going to burn a wire and then blow a fuse or a breaker. That's straight to your battery and your fuel system. There's nothing. It's not blowing a fuse. That's going to weld itself to that bracket and burn this car right to the ground. So we got to make sure it doesn't have any other hidden demons and just get all this kind of stuff tidied up. Like even this is just a lot of opportunity for failure.
That's just, no way. They didn't just leave this hanging.
No, it was just bunched up and zip tied to here. It's just all zip tied right here.
I mean,
like in a wad.
Wow.
So I mean, whatever, maybe it'll never be a problem, but to shorten these wires and make it proper is
it takes like
15 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
So why risk it?
True.
That's why I don't necessarily believe that the original owner did a lot of this stuff, because some stuff is done super nice and obviously a bunch of money has been spent, and then you see some shit like this and you're
shoot, I didn't even see that.
This is the same person.
Oh my gosh. What is this?
This is like RTV silicone.
What? That's gonna like burn through.
Yeah,
was that used as a gasket?
I guess, because obviously it had an exhaust leak. So
oh my god!
They just finally gave up and
just sealed it.
Yeah. So
interesting.
But other than that, the car's pretty good. Just a few little demons, but we'll chase them out. Like, see this type of shit. You can't have that. That's your fuel line laying against the panel edge.
Oh yeah, that'll chafe.
See this upper right there?
Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
Like that right there.
Oh yeah.
That's bad. That's real bad.
Yeah, because this is a moving part, sort of.
Well, it's just resting against this thin sheet metal edge, and that's what'll cause it to cut through. Like you can already see how it's chafed all the paint off.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So you don't want that happening, and you don't want any of your fuel system in pinch points, or so we got it sorted all out.
Yeah.
See, it's
this is actually, and this is pretty good for me to know too. So when I'm
there, like,
yeah.
A lot, like if anything, like if it's unavoidable, you'll just put like a heavy rubber sleeve over it.
Yeah, just so.
And then it's something that you should check on periodically, and not just assume that it's going to be good forever.
Yeah, I need to. I'm probably going to check my Jag for that too, because it's.
Because that's the stuff that's going to leave you broken down.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky and it just chafes through, and it just starts pissing fuel everywhere, you're probably going to break down because you're not going to get fuel to the motor. And then if you're lucky, that's all it is the inconvenience of being stuck on the side of the road. But you know, the worst case scenario is now you're spelling, like pumping fuel onto your hot exhaust, and again,
that's a fire.
Car fire. So
Yeah, I need to look.
But
at
the
that.
reality, a lot of these cars is they don't get driven enough
For all those
get to
things
that
to happen.
point, to get to that point. So it's like once you start putting it on the street and actually putting real miles on it, that's when you end up when these things start to expose themselves. Rolling in and out of car shows, probably never going to get hot enough, never going to create a problem. But now that it's onto an end user, this is when, and unfortunately, all those little shortcuts are going to fall on him.
Oh,
So
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else
yeah.
got all the hype of car shows and awesome and accolades and all this type of stuff, and now the end user buys a car and he has nothing but problems with it, and then ends up hating custom cars, and hating everything about it. So that's the putting reliability in these things is what makes people keep coming back. Like when you take all these little extra things and you make them perfect, then they're happy and they want to do more. But if they're always broken down with little stupid things, it's always electrical connectors are the worst. They'll leave you stranded all the time.
Wow.
You could spend 80 grand on parts and like a butt connector is going to ruin your whole weekend. Like it's
Butt
you know what I mean?
connector. Yeah. So with your car, actually, for people that do not know, just go over your car because this was also a SEMA car too.
This was SEMA 2019. So I don't know if you're not familiar with it. The sort of the mandate for my car was to eliminate all those things that we just talked about. So like all my electrical, all my plumbing was super important for me to make sure that it was all neat and tidy and really well routed, easy to work on, and it's sort of translates through the whole car. So there's no pinch points, there's no chafe points. Everything is ran with, wire holders, weather pack plugs. So just because owning a shop like I say, those are going to be the things that end up bringing people back, and then they're not happy.
Yeah. Oof.
So we have the engine out right now because I'm making some changes, but as you can see, everything's loomed, weather pack connectors, AN fittings. Our routing is nice and clean and tidy, which adds to the aesthetic at the end. Like that last 10% of everybody's build is always plumbing and wiring. But mine, I started with plumbing and wiring and made sure that I laid all that stuff out where I wanted it so it looked super nice and tidy before I started loading everything else in. So, and this car being what it is, I was able to put it anywhere I wanted. I didn't have any restrictions or constraints because I'm not trying to retain a stock interior or any of those things. So I could place everything perfectly so that it's nice and neat.
Yeah.
But we can talk more about this
Yes,
later.
that's another episode. So
This
if
is
you
a whole
guys
nother
want to see,
episode.
if you guys want to see a dedicated video on this, going into complete detail on everything,
A lot of people
check out
this car.
or check out this channel. Link in description below. Subscribe if you want to see more, and just let us know what you want to see about this car because we probably make a dedicated video about that. So, but right now it doesn't have an engine in it. So, also before you say the reason, there's also a video saying why it doesn't have an engine in it, and so check out the video. It's probably linked in the description below. So check that out too.
Cool. That's it.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. During COVID, we were not able to overnight parts from Japan.
Oh my gosh.